Brap, brap.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
What up? We out here.
Surprise. Surprise. Welcome. This is the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. A very, very special episode of the 9x9. I think this is episode 123. It is Monday, May 27th.
No, this is episode 1 of Live from Arlington.
This is episode 1 of Live from VNL Arlington. We are here out of a sort of last-minute, spur-of-the-moment little trip that we have taken.
You could say that.
Down to week 2 of women's VNL. We are here. We are so excited to be here. I am Rob St. Clair. This is Everett Delorme. I love it when we are together in person. 1 week earlier than expected because we will still be in Ottawa next week, of course. But also, we get to come here. We're just going to be here for a couple days. We get to catch some great stuff. We get to talk to a bunch of people. And then tomorrow, Everett, USA versus Canada on the women's side.
Yeah, it's great because unfortunately, Rob, you can't stay all week next week in Ottawa. You've got some VLA stuff that you need to take care of. You will be missing Canada versus USA in Ottawa.
But that one's not going to be competitive. We're going to 3-dong you like we always do. I'm not worried about that one. Honestly, Everett, I'm more worried about the U.S. women tomorrow night against Canada than I ever have been about the men.
You know what? The women are looking pretty good right now. I am pretty happy with Canada's first week for the VNL on the men's side. Obviously, for the American men, you did get that one win over Bulgaria.
Over Turkey.
Oh, sorry, over Turkey.
We'll get to that.
So that is a big one. But yeah, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good after week 1 of the men. Now we're heading in for week 2 of the women. As we said, this is a bit of a last minute impromptu trip. We won't be here all week. We're only going to be here until Wednesday.
Right.
Both of us have to go home, do some of our real jobs before we head off to Ottawa for the entirety of next week. But this is a last minute trip to potentially make some new friends and some new connections and maybe some new beginnings.
Maybe. So what we're gonna do is this will feel as best we can like a normal episode of the 9x9. We're gonna recap men's VNL week 1.
Of course.
We're gonna do a little preview of women's VNL week 2.
Absolutely.
Then what I think we should do, Everett, is tomorrow night we will do a post-game show after USA Canada, and then Wednesday afternoon we will do a post-game show after one terrible game between Bulgaria and Korea, and then after what hopes to be a decent game between Turkey and Germany. So I think we'll do this, a 9x9 episode, and then 2 other shows, like a little more what you friends of the channel might be used to when we're at events. So make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. And I'm not trying to be a lame YouTuber, I promise, when I say that honestly the best way to stay up in touch with us when we're at events is to turn on notifications about the channel.
Yeah,
because our schedule is so weird that it's difficult to plan like exactly when we're going to go live in advance. So I really recommend like subscribing and getting notifications when we go live.
Yeah, and that's going to be the best case, especially like for this, because like this is a very last minute trip here to Arlington. And let's just say maybe our priorities aren't necessarily going to be the volleyball on the court.
Maybe not.
Right? There's going to be some other things that we want to accomplish while we're here that will hopefully benefit all of us in the future. So, the best way is going to be on the notifications. Get in the Volleyball Source Discord. That is going to be the number 1 spot. You guys have been killing it of late.
Discord's been phenomenal.
Like, it has been great. And, but I think it's time now. I mean, now that you guys all know we're here, we're in Arlington. We're going to be talking to Coach Shannon Windsor from Canada in a little bit later on tonight, this evening. Maybe Karch as well too.
Hopefully Karch,
if we could get him. But let's talk first about week 1 of the men's VNL. It is over with weeks going down in Antalya, Turkey, and Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Looking at the standings here, we have 3 teams that did phenomenally well: Italy, Slovenia, Cuba. All 3 of those teams with serious Olympic implications on the line here in week number 1.
Yeah, so those are the teams that gained the most world ranking points this week. Italy went 4-0. This is the first time I can ever remember them bringing their A team to week 1 of a VNL.
Yep,
it's been a long time since we've seen that, and they went down
most of their A team, as many as possible.
Yeah, pretty darn close. I mean, we
no
saw
Lavia.
Yeah, no Lavia, but everybody else. Micheletto was there, Gianelli was there,
yep.
Romano, Balasso, all the middles, Russo, and they went down to Brazil and dominated, and in such a way that I honestly don't even have that much to talk about Italy, because they were so good, and they were just played very convincingly, and they I think they only dropped 1 point. Who did they beat in 5? Was it Brazil maybe?
Yeah, they beat Brazil in 5.
Okay, so but 4-0, 11 points. They gained 19 world ranking points on the field. That is what we expect from Italy's A team, and even though they technically don't have an Olympic spot locked up yet, they did move to the number 2 ranking in the world this week, and they're in. And we've kind of always known that they're in, but no surprise, Italy is very good. And Livia was there, Everett. Yeah, this is how intently I watched Italy this week, because they were so good that like there isn't even that much to take away from them. But they, I'm just impressed with how seriously they took the week and how good they look, and they are putting their best foot forward this VNL to go out and grab an Olympic spot, and to do so at the highest possible ranking position, so they get a favorable seed when it comes to the pool draw in a couple weeks.
I mean, they did. It was best case scenario for Italy this week. Picking up a bunch of big wins, plus 20 points, and then the other side you have the USA, who just sent a bunch of youngsters, and they get basically minus 40 points to drop from
by far the biggest drop in the field.
By far the biggest drop in the field. But when you're in second position, you can kind of make that thing. And also, as you've talked about before, Rob, being in that third spot actually isn't a terrible position.
No, it's not bad,
right? When you're looking at the Olympic rankings, because actually it is, because you still have France. France is still.
Yeah, but what you really don't want to do is be anywhere lower than 5. If you're one of those best teams in the world, you do not want to be 6th or below. That hurts you. So, and we'll talk about the USA in a little bit, but I honestly was pretty pleased with the week that we had, because we didn't drop any further than 3rd in the world, and now the Olympians are going the rest of the way. But do you have anything else about Italy? Because they are at the top of the tournament right now, but this should have absolutely been the case. This was very expected. And they are number 1 in the standings. They're number 2 in the world. Italy's very good. Italy is a gold medal contender, and that's kind of all there is to say.
I mean, they did it out there with Luca Porro and Bovalenta,
Luca Porro is awesome.
With 2 young guys. We got to see Luca Porro a little bit this year with Padova. Really liked him. Of course, we know that Porro name has to be the strongest family name in volleyball right now. It's definitely of the up and comers.
And there's 3 of them.
No. I would put the Legumjes over the Poros right now.
Well, we do like this brother conversation, but
we do.
Good work by Italy. I think we can move past them, because the other huge winner this week, Everett, was Slovenia. Slovenia had an enormous week. They went 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
They jumped all the way up to 5th ranked in the world. They moved up 2 spots. They gained 24 points on the field. By the way, in the description of this video, there is a link to a Google Doc that I've been using to track world ranking change. So give that a click, and you can follow along with us about who's changing where in the world rankings. I'm keeping that updated after every week. But Slovenia had a huge week. They beat Canada in 5. And we'll talk about Canada in a minute, but I think we can basically say for very, very sure Slovenia is going to the Olympics.
Yeah,
Slovenia is going.
I would tend to say so as well. It was just a really, really strong week from Slovenia. On top of that, without the Rock either. No Rock Mozic out there to score some points. You're going through the old school lineup with Chebo and Ernaut, Ropret, Kozamarinek, and they looked really good.
And Tonček Stern, 2nd in the tournament in scoring in week 1 with 82 points, behind only Namir.
But we've come to expect that from Tonček Stern. Yep. Remember, was it 2 years ago when he was leading the Italian league when he was playing for Padova? He is a guy who can handle a lot of volume, right? And Slovenia also likes that style. Cebu, Ernaut, they're a little bit older now. They can't necessarily take this.
Ernaut especially.
Yeah, they can't necessarily take the same amount of volume that they maybe used to be able to. Luckily, Tonček is out there. He can take some volume, and once they get the Rock back by week 2 or 3, then a lot of volume is going to be going out to the left side as well.
Right, and so somebody in the chat says Slovenia is awesome, but I worry about their subs, and I agree with you. Slovenia is not that deep of a team.
No.
But when it comes to the Olympics, that's not going to matter.
No.
Like we've talked about the Olympic format, it's only 6 matches. You get days off in between. You can play 7 guys the whole Olympics and do just fine. And Slovenia now, all they have to do is stay where they're at for world ranking wise, and they're going to the Olympics for the first time in their country's history, and they looked really good. And of course, somehow, Everett, I don't know how it is they keep doing this, and I think the rest of the world would like to figure it out. How does Slovenia beat Poland every single time they play? It's crazy to me.
It's funny because let's say part of the reason we're here is that we're bridging some gaps, we're mending some bridges, and we're making some friends with some people over at Volleyball World. And there was a message sent to us how did Slovenia beat Poland? And it was kind of okay, well,
they always do.
They always do. This is Slovenia is Poland's kryptonite. But you know what? That to me is just an indication of 2 teams in very different stages of their seasons. Right? You have a Slovenian team who right now their season is now.
Yeah.
Everything, like, just qualifying, because once again, Slovenia isn't like a Canada who's qualified for the past 2 Olympics. They haven't qualified ever. Right, so this would be massive for the growth of this country. And just like I said, like, if you look at the past decade, 2011, Slovenia is losing to Slovakia to qualify for the World League,
like Group 2 or
like
whatever it
Group
was.
2, yeah, like what the Challenger Cup was back then. By 2015, they're getting second at the European Championships, right? So in that 4-year span, you saw a massive improvement, and since then, they've medaled at 4 straight European Championships, but they've yet to go to an Olympic Games, so that would be massive. Where on the other side of the court, you have a Polish team that just needs to figure it out. They realistically, Poland they need to perform all summer, but they need to perform in one game, and that's the Olympic gold medal game.
That's right.
Right.
And
that everything is geared towards preparing for that.
Right, and Poland didn't bring everybody week 1.
No.
Poland will be fine. They did snap. I think it was a 26-match win streak. Poland hadn't lost a match since week 2 of VNL last year in Rotterdam against the United States, I think it was. And they went undefeated through the VNL playoffs, through Eurovolley, through Olympic qualifiers, and so Poland's going to be just fine. But you're right, Slovenia's time is now. Then, like you said, since Slovenia's ascension has been exclusively with this group of players.
Yeah,
it has been exclusively this group of players.
This is the last run.
This is it.
Yep.
This is it right here for Slovenia, and there should be a lot of optimism for this team, and especially if they can grab a top 5 spot in the rankings, they're going to put themselves in a real good position at the Olympics to, throw themselves out there with probably not as many expectations as some of the top teams and kind of see what happens. I mean, yeah, how many points did they get from beating Poland? 15. That's crazy.
15.79 for a 3-dong over Poland.
Incredible.
That's honestly one of the most points I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
A huge game.
That is a massive amount.
And the last thing that Slovenia did this week is that they won the longest match in the history of the Volleyball Nations League. I think it was 27-25 in the 5th.
Yes.
Over the Netherlands with a Tunchek Stern ace to win it. Longest in terms of number of points played.
Yeah, not by
time. But yeah, that was an all-time banger. There were a lot of really fun matches played this week, and selfishly, I loved it because in Turkey they were kind of in the morning for us.
Oh, it was great.
And then they overlapped by a little bit in the middle, and then in the evening they were playing down in Rio. It was for North American viewers or Western Hemisphere viewers. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great, except for the fact that I worked 12 to 8 most days this week.
Oof.
So, it was a lot of watching it later on. And except for Canada, it was played twice at 7 a.m. too. So I was like getting up at 7 a.m. and going to work after that. But, it was a really good week 1. I really enjoyed it. So, but, we're talking about teams that really killed it in week number 1 here on the men's side, Rob. We've talked about Slovenia. We've talked about Italy. And now we have to talk about maybe I think that this is the team that had the biggest impact on them, and that's Cuba.
100%.
Cuba played themselves into an Olympic spot, and even more so, they did it while Serbia completely shit the bed. Plus 24 points for Cuba, minus 14.71 for Serbia. They actually dropped down 2 spots. So Germany has jumped up ahead of them, which doesn't really matter for the Olympic race because they're already qualified. But Serbia really shooting themselves in the foot, while Cuba, I don't want to say that they've booked their ticket because I already said that once when Cuba was up like 14-11 against Japan in the 5th, and I said, Ronnie, congratulations, good job.
And then go on to blow that match.
And then they went down to blow that one 17-15 in the 5th. So
great
I'm not
match, though.
Great, fantastic match. Those 2 teams have given us like those are 2 classic volleyball teams, and they've given us some really good ones all time.
Cuba without Jesus Herrera.
Yes.
With this old guy named Michael Sanchez on the right side.
Sanchez was a part of that team back in 2010.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like he is old school. Like he is an old school guy. I thought he was old last year when he showed up at Norseca's. And I was like, there's no chance this guy's going to play. And instead, he went out and absolutely balled for them, especially in that first match against Brazil.
Yeah.
Brought in some stability. And then you saw the depth in the Cuban middle where they were able to bring in Masso on the right side, who had a massive year for Friedrichshafen this year.
In the middle.
In the middle. But they brought in Masso on the right side on that double sub, him and Taboada coming in. Concepcion and Simon were great down the middle. I was a little surprised that they didn't put Lopez to the right and go Melgarejo Yant as we saw pre-pandemic. Right? That's
they could have done that. But yeah, I mean, it was the last 9x9 we did was last Tuesday, like immediately before that Cuba-Brazil game.
Yeah.
And then we were watching that game, and Cuba played phenomenally well. They
Very,
were
very
so
well.
good. They beat Brazil 3-1. Then they beat Germany. Then that loss to Japan, which they probably should have won.
They absolutely should have.
And then they took care of Iran on Saturday, no problem. And like you said, they're plus 24 in the rankings,
Yeah, plus 20.
like decimals behind Slovenia, and then with Serbia losing 14 points, those two teams swapped the 9 and 11 ranking positions in the world, a 38-point delta in week 1.
That's a massive swing.
And as good as Cuba looked, because we've been saying it, Everett. We've been kind of rooting for Cuba to go to the Olympics, not for any other reason except that we think that they deserve it.
They do. They deserve it. They deserve it, and it would be
Robert Landisimo.
We need one of the best ever to go to Olympics one time.
Right. But not even to appease Ronnie Cuban Spike and have him shut up about his team for a little bit. But we also we think that Cuba deserves it, and I think this week has proved that we've been right, that Cuba
100%.
deserves it, and this Serbian team does not.
Well, like Rob, even when you look at the plus minuses of them, like even from last year, like Cuba's been picking up. Like they beat Italy at the qualifiers last year. They beat Brazil at the qualifiers last year. Like they've been picking up. Like their worst loss is that loss to Germany where they lost to 7. But like there's a lot of there's plus 12s. Like there's a lot of points. But then when you look at Serbia, even throughout, kind of like a lot more minuses once we're looking at the Olympic qualifying tournament, once we're looking at Eurovolleys last year, once we're looking at Nations League last year. These are two teams who have been trending in opposite directions for a long time now, and it's like Serbia is another legendary volleyball country, but they've fallen off over the past years, and I really hope this is a wake-up call.
They were tough to watch this week.
Someone in the chat said, I can't remember who, but I saw it, and they said that Slovenia is what Serbia was 10 years ago.
I love that.
And
that's absolutely right.
Absolutely 100% agree with that, where they've got good culture, they've got good depth. And I'm really starting to question Serbia's role and position as like a power within world volleyball. Right, like obviously they're still doing it on the women's side, but on the men's side,
because of one player.
because of one. Well, I mean, they did win that bronze without her a couple years ago,
did,
so
you're right.
so there is that. But yeah, like Serbia, when I was growing up, like when we beat Serbia in 2010,
it's a big deal.
It was. I didn't even care that we didn't even make it out of the pools. Right, we beat Serbia. That was great. I got to boast. Whereas like now, like I'm not scared of Serbia.
No.
Like. We can send the B team.
I heard, and I don't speak Serbian, but I heard the Discord talking about the fact that Marko Petrašinen, who is an all-time legend, was saying in his native tongue to his own country's media that Serbia, they feel like they're playing like the worst team in the VNL right now.
Wow.
He said that about his own team, is what I heard from the Discord. If we have any Serbians, please let us know in the chat exactly what Marco said. But Serbia was tough to watch. Tough to watch. They went 1-3, right? I think the only team they beat was Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost 3-1 to Brazil. They got 3-0 by Germany on Sunday, which was real tough to watch. They beat Iran and they lost to
Brazil and Japan.
Japan, that's it.
Yeah, they got 3-0 by Japan.
And without their two starting outside hitters.
But that's also right with
we'll
no Ran and no Ishikawa.
Right.
So that who was Tomita and Kai were both
both good,
both real good. But on this Serbia note, it's really bad for Serbia when even though both Serbia and Cuba lost to Japan the way they did, Cuba lost 3-2 and lost minus 0.2 points.
Whereas, should have won the match.
And should have won the match. Whereas Serbia got 3-0'd.
Right.
So it's not only that Cuba is winning games that Serbia isn't, but they're also losing games better than Serbia.
They're just
Serbia
playing
is
better against common opponents, and I think they do play each other in the first game of week 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think they'll both be in Ljubljana, and they're going to play that week, and that's going to be if things keep going the way they are, that's going to be a lopsided game.
Yeah.
And it's going to really confirm, it's going to cement what we think that we know. And just a reminder, there's a link in the description of this video for my world ranking tracker. I think I see a bunch of you have got it opened up. I'm going to put it in the chat as well. 1 second.
Yeah, but like Serbia getting 3-donged by Germany, and Germany doesn't have Grosjean, not good.
Not good.
Like at that point, like you don't. If in my eyes, you don't deserve to go to the Olympics.
I agree.
If that's the way you're playing right now. So
I agree.
Is there any other teams, Rob, that really impressed you in week number 1?
I mean, we kind of alluded to it. I was really impressed by Japan.
Japan was good.
I was really impressed by Japan. Japan without Yuki Ishikawa, without Ron Takahashi. Would they go 3-1?
Yeah, I believe so.
3-1, only 8 points. They played really good ball. That game against Cuba was an all-time classic. They did lose 3-1 to Italy and kind of got handled towards the end of that game. But like, there's certainly no shame in that, losing to Micheletto and Ginelli. But like you were talking about Japan's outside hitters, this Kai kid. Yeah, Masato Kai, I think he's 20.
Yeah.
He looked real good.
Is it Kai or Kai?
I think it's Kai. Shoma Tomita is the other one.
Yeah. Tomita had that one swing. Was it in the Cuban game or the Argentinian game? It was whatever right after Canada beat Turkey when because it was like the back-to-back games where Louis made
Argentina.
Yeah, well, Louis made that dig by running in and then bumping it in, and Mar put it in. There was another play almost exactly like it, just on the other side of the court, where Japan made a dig and they chased it down, and then Tomita crushed a ball on the outside. It was pretty sexy.
Yeah, that was impressive to watch. And the other group for Japan that I was actually really impressed by this week was the middle blockers. And this is not something I've ever said about Japan before, but Japan's kind of learning how to block the ball. I mean, Taishi Onodera was all over the place, and then Yamauchi was serving as the captain this week, and he looked pretty good.
Yamauchi looked fantastic. Yamauchi outplayed Lozère in the win against Argentina. And not only did he outplay Lozère, but he outplayed Lozère by playing like Lozère. Right? Like he out-Lozèred, which was great. Like there was a few times where he was so in like when like Lozère's hitting his pop routes where he's like popping out to, like Yamauchi is staying patient, he's watching, and then he got him on a really big com block on one of them.
Yeah, he did.
It was really fun to see.
Yamauchi in that match, the 4-setter over Argentina, 14 points, 9 for 13 attacking, no errors, 4 blocks and an ace, which is sick. And Agustin Lozère, 12 points, 11 for 16 attacking, 2 errors, only 1 block and 0 aces.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, it was also both Nishida and Miyaura both looked pretty good on the right side. So Japan, I'm not ready to call them a medal threat yet at the Olympics, but they're damn close.
They're in the conversation.
They're really close.
They're in the conversation.
They're a team that's going to be nearly impossible to beat unless you play your absolutely best volleyball, unless you match up phenomenally well against them. Like Italy, for example. I know Japan beat him in the bronze medal match last year's VNL, but like in an Olympic setting, I don't like Japan's chances against Italy. But Japan can beat almost anybody in the world just with how they play and the fact that their floor is so high.
Yeah, their floor is absolutely massive, and also too, like we've seen once you add Ishikawa into that roster, we've seen what he can do. Right? When we know how good Ishikawa is, and we know how he can galvanize a team and really put a team on his back and push them through hard times. And then opposite, like how good Ran Takahashi is in serve receive and in first ball out of system. Right? So it just brings so much. And like right now, we're really seeing a really fun right side matchup between Nishida and Miyaura. And Miyaura played really well for Paris this year, but they just their stature isn't different, but they do play. They're both lefties. They're both a little bit undersized, but they play the game slightly different.
Yeah, they do.
Whereas Nishida's, he's a small little hammer. He's small, quick, and he hammers that ball. Whereas Miyaura has some cuts. He can cut it, go thumb down, thumb up.
The ball around
he moves the ball. I like his arm action a little bit better. Whereas, Nishida's just like a straight windmill, but having those two options that they can move between, and then you've got both setters that you can work with as well. Like Japan's bringing a lot of things to this summer.
Yeah, Japan looks good. They really did. I think 2 of the gold medal contenders that I've been talking about, we can brush through them relatively quickly. Both had pretty good weeks, France and Poland.
Yeah.
France was good. I think they went 3-1 over in Antalya.
Worst jerseys so far, though.
You really hate him, eh? I don't hate him. I don't hate him as much as you do.
I don't know why it is, but I just don't like the
shoulder thing.
It's the shoulders. It just I don't know. It reminds me of a football jersey.
Yeah, but France looked fine. I mean, they had They didn't have Stefan Boyer. He's recovering from that ankle injury he'd suffered in the playoffs with Varsovia. But they had basically everyone else. We got to see Teo Four with the A team a little more than we had the last couple of years. That was nice to see. So, I mean, France is France. They're going to be fine. They are going to get the number 1 seed in the Olympics as the hosts. I don't have that much to say about them, really. I am a little more interested in Poland, though, and what they did this week and kind of what their strategy was and who they brought and what the things are that I think they're trying to find out.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I thought Bolanj played really, really well.
Bolanj was good.
And I would have, before this weekend, I would have picked Bucharin over Bolanj, right? Like, we saw Bucharin a couple years ago when Poland came down to Ottawa for the VNL. And but, yeah, I thought Bolanj, like, he tore us up. I mean,
yeah,
we won that first set against Poland. We were up in the second, and then Bolanj went back and just tore us up from the baseline. And then it was absolutely game over after that, right? So, not like I think this Polish team is really, really good. Obviously, I think they're probably the best team in the world.
They are the best team in the world. But, like, I was surprised with a couple of the guys that they brought to week 1, especially Alexander Schlifka. Now, I know that he was hurt for a good amount of, like, the year 2024 so far.
Yeah.
With Zox, and he hasn't played that much. So I think that there's a chance that he kind of insisted on playing this week.
Absolutely.
And I thought he looked phenomenal.
But not only that, like, they weren't in the playoffs, right? Like, he hasn't played meaningful ball in a while.
You're right. So I get that part of it. But also we saw a little bit of Kamil Semeniuk. We saw a lot of Artur Szalpuk.
Yeah.
Who's having a huge resurgence to his career.
Yeah.
We saw a good bit of Bartosz Bednors.
Yeah.
We saw, other than Kochanowski, we saw a lot of middles that likely won't sniff the Olympic roster. But, yeah, their third opposite position is an interesting one. Their third, I mean, it's Kurak and Kaczmarek. Okay. Bolanj isn't pushing those two guys, not yet.
Yeah.
Like, the things that I think Poland needs to figure out is who's their backup setter going to be.
Whoa, wait. No, they know that. They have the best one of the best setters in the world.
They have arguably the best setter in the world.
If you look up his results and you look up what he has done, Gregor Lomach is one of the best setters. No. One of, like, the best.
He said arguably the best setter in the world. And if you are having a laugh at that, go take a look at what he's won. What a take by Clayton Lucas, clearly having never watched a game of volleyball in the last 6 years and just looking at a Volleybox profile. It was one of the most ridiculous things
which is weird,
ever said on
he commentates the most games of anyone.
He called Poland at each of the last, like, 4 tournaments Poland has won. He has called the games, and Łomacz hasn't sniffed the court. Like, what are we talking about?
Łomacz wasn't even on the roster last year. It was Furley. Like, was it?
No, I think Łomacz is the second setter.
Okay,
so he's there and he's getting medals, but he's not doing anything, and anybody who watches knows that. Ridiculous. Anyway, Poland, I think, needs to figure out their second setter. They need to figure out which of their liberos are they going to bring, and then they need to figure out their outside hitters, because they have so many amazing outside hitters that picking 4 of them is going to be very hard. And, I mean, the 4 that they brought this week
could start for
Semeniuk, Schlifka, Bednors, and Szalpuk. That would be an elite Olympic crew for any other team in the world, and that doesn't include Leon or Fornal. It's absurd. So I'm curious to see what they do the rest of the way. I mean, they dropped 6 points this week. No big deal. They still got number 1 in the world by like a 50-point margin. So yeah, they're gonna be just fine.
Yeah. All right, Rob. Do you want to talk about our teams?
I do.
A little bit first. Let's start with Canada because
they were better this week, much better.
Yeah, I mean, well, we had a real team there.
Yeah, you did.
Started things off by just shutting up all the haters and absolutely throttling Turkey at home.
We did do that. We did talk about that on last week's
show. We did talk about that again.
It bears mentioning again.
But we wanted to mention again. But you know what, Rob? I'm pretty happy with week 1 from us. We go 2-2. We get solid wins over teams that we should beat in Turkey and Bulgaria. I thought our showing against Poland for 3 sets was really good. We got 1 a set. We were up. And then you know what? We saw once again that we already know what our biggest kryptonite is going to be, and it's going to be serve receive.
Yep.
Right? And to me, that's where I really want to see our libero, it's been Justin Louis so far, and he's been playing great. I need to see him step up and really communicate, and that's what we saw from Tomas Samiavuo in those timeouts. And it's like, hey, like when Bolanj is going off on us, we're kind of
Going into a shell.
Going into a shell. We're not helping each other out. We're not supporting each other. And it's like those little things that really missed that I was missing. But overall, I'm super happy with week number 1 here from the Maple Volleys. Like I thought we had a good showing against Poland, and even in that last game against Slovenia, did some really good things.
Yeah, beat Bulgaria easily as well.
I mean, that's not even a mention.
Gotta do that.
Yeah, and I mean, like I also think too that like we specifically saw some really good performances from Finn McCarthy in the middle.
I wanted to ask you about him.
Like, if you guys don't know who Finn McCarthy is, you're going to learn real quick. He's a former UBC Thunderbird. He only spent a couple of seasons there, won a national championship with that team back in 2018 while he was playing on the right side. And he's been in and out of the Canadian system for a few years, and he almost got Jungle Music grouped and went down the way of the Kofis, but managed to pull himself out of that deep, dark depths of the Ellie Shermer world. And it was able to bring himself back into the fold. And you know what? 2 years ago when he was on that B team when I was in Gatineau, he barely sniffed the court. And I know there's a lot of disappointment.
And then last year he was the captain of the B team.
So I talked to Dan Lewis when I was at Nationals for U Sports, and he said they were astonished by the change they saw in Finn McCarthy from 2 years ago to last year. And that, you know, his change like led him to being one of the best middles in the Czech league for the past 2 years. This year, he was one of the best servers in the Champions League while playing for Prague, and we've seen that. But you know what? When Dan Lewis talked to him last year, and you know, was like, "Hey, like you've made some big strides," and Finn was all about, hey, you know what? I needed to mature and I needed to grow up, and that's exactly why he was the captain of that B team last summer. And I was really hoping that they were just going to put him on the roster, and they went even further than that. Gave him a couple of starts right off the bat. He came out right at the bat, served aces, got blocks, got kills. I don't think that Finn McCarthy is only making a case for himself on the Olympic roster. I think Finn McCarthy is making a case for himself as the second starting middle beside Danny Demyanenko. Right? Like, I was so impressed by what Jordan Schnitzer had to offer last year, but I think Finn McCarthy does all of that at a higher level intensity than a Jordan Schnitzer.
And he serves better.
And he serves better. Like
wow.
he's a physical blocker. He's there on attacking, and he's a little bit older than Jordan Schnitzer as well, and you can tell. And I remember when I met him back in 2017 or 2018. It was in his first year. It was 2017, first year at UBC, and he was hanging out with the alumni and the veterans like no problem whatsoever as a freshman. So his injection into the roster, I think, is perfectly timed. And ultimately, I loved what I saw from the Maple Volleys in week number 1. The one area that we had some struggles in was on the right side position.
I wanted to ask you about that. Do you think that given now Finn McCarthy, a new, real, solid, potential Olympic caliber athlete in the middle, do you think that maybe Canada's Olympic roster will look like the United States? Do you think maybe that you go with one opposite and 4 middles?
No.
Because past Arthur Schwartz, I don't think you have an Olympic caliber opposite, but if you bring the 4 middles, you have a couple options, namely moving Eric Lepke to the right like we saw this club season. Do you think that's possible? Because otherwise, like if you bring like a Xander Kaczynski or a Jordan Canham are not ready to go to the Olympics.
Well, it won't be Jordan, right? Because he's not on that top 18 list. I didn't mind Xander coming in. I think he comes in with like, trust me, there's problems there. There's some issues, but he needs some of that time. To me, is that like when you look at that 4th middle spot, whether it's a Van Berkel or a Pearson Nishenko or a Finn McCarthy or a George Sisson, or even I'm just putting Demyanenko as like the one guy that I have up there right now, and everyone else is kind of fighting for those other spots. Those guys don't change. That 4th guy doesn't change enough for me. Right. The only thing that I might be able to see is if you do that, but you have that attention because Finn McCarthy does have the experience on the right side. Maybe you bring that in.
That's what I was thinking. Is like in the utility case at the Olympics, which is you have to have, like we've said, very specifically defined rules. In an emergency situation, could that maybe be a thing that makes the difference for an Olympian? Maybe. I'm not sure.
In an emergency situation, yes, I think so.
But I think in an emergency situation, what you would do if Schwartz was hurt or struggling is the same thing that the United States would do, and that's you would put your 3 best wings on the floor, which would be Lepke, Marr, and either Riley Barnes or Nick Hogue.
One of those 2 guys has to step up and
Right.
to be that next guy.
Right.
That's what's going to happen between one of those 2 guys to really step up to be that third guy. And so far we've seen Barnes come in when we're struggling in serve receive. That's when we bring in Barnes, and when we need a little bit more firepower, some big serving off the bench, that's when we bring in Hogue. So overall, like I'm real pleased with week number 1 from Canada. I think Schwartz will get better. Right, when you look at him back to last year, he struggled early on a little bit, and remember, like he couldn't even win that starting spot over Sclater, and then there was no doubt about it once it came to NORCECA Championships and the Olympic qualifying tournament. So I also think that there's a change too in the set, the set that he's getting from Luke Herr as opposed to Kachopa this year. So
that's a good point.
I'm very confident that Arthur Schwartz is going to be able to find some sort of rhythm. Maybe not like an all-star caliber rhythm as we've seen from him at certain points, like especially earlier on this year. And I also, especially throughout the VNL, I also like giving Xander Ketrzinski that space and that time to make those errors and to grow a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's completely fair. You are qualified. You can use this VNL to collect data and to try and help pick 12 Olympians. That's the position that Canada's put themselves. So
wait, Ryan, why are we calling Finn McCarthy Mr. Pringles?
I don't know, but I like it.
No, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I want to know about this. This is coming up in the chat. Mr. Pringles.
I like that.
Ryan is also suggesting we bring back Gavin Schmidt and Old Man Soonius. Gavin Schmidt tried to play VNL in 2019 and couldn't hack it.
Yeah, do you guys know what year it is right now?
Yeah. And Dallas Soonius is like making movies.
Legend. Dallas
Absolute legend. But yeah, it's been a minute for both those guys.
All right. I want to talk about my team for a little bit.
Let's do it.
The United States B- team.
No. If you're willing, you have the worst rankings over what. Like, you will call some teams that have like starters a B team and then other teams C teams. No, this is a CD team. Off of your own things.
You're right.
I would call this a B team. For you, this is a C team.
So this was the youngest and least experienced United States team I have ever seen fielded at a major event.
True.
And there's the fact that they got that win over Turkey in match number 4 in Antalya was just really important. It was really important. That team, I think, those guys needed to have that experience of winning that match to feel like this week was a success. They were never going to contend against Poland. No. They were never going to contend against France.
No.
The Bulgaria game I wish was better.
Yes.
That we took a set, but that game needed to be better. I didn't like the way that we played in that game, but beating Turkey was really important. Out of nowhere, Jake Haynes dropped 31.
I don't think that's out of nowhere.
On 60% efficiency, that's out of nowhere. He was absolutely automatic. And it was so weird because the left sides, which were Ethan Champlin and Jordan Ewart, did nothing in terms of point scoring. Nothing at all. It was a one-man show, and Turkey just could not figure it out. And I think that good for the U.S., whatever. I think it's a successful week for us. I know we dropped a lot of points. We only dropped 1 spot in the world rankings. Doesn't matter. Olympians are going the rest of the way. Yeah. But it leads me into talking about Turkey. That was a rough week for that team.
That last game was a indication of a mentally broken team. That was a team who came in thinking that they were going to light up the VNL.
They thought that they had Olympic chances.
Yeah, and that is completely gone.
No,
but this is like I think teams need to realize, and we saw it with Cuba last year. We saw it like how difficult it was for Canada the year before that. The VNL is really hard.
It's hard.
It's a really hard competition. You need to come in and like Turkey doesn't lose this game if they play it the first match of the week. They lose this game because of how like mentally downtrodden they were to go 0-3 in front of their own crowd at home when they had such higher expectations. Whereas for those American kids, anything house money, anything is, and like you just got to go out there and ball. All of them know, like none of those guys are going to be in Ottawa next week, right? Everyone who got on the court wearing that Team USA jersey this week knew that this was their last chance to ball out for the
roll clarity. Everett.
Exactly,
I love it.
Exactly, and whereas on the other side, like Turkey, you have like Burkai has been messaging me about how they need to get rid of their old guys, and I absolutely agree.
I agree with that.
There's way too much old old head energy on this Turkey team, and it needs to be the Legumjias times. You need to go.
Yep.
Their young generation of players is fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. Murat Yanipazar has to be the setter from now on.
No,
I can't watch Arslan
Oh.
Ekşi anymore. I can't do it. So get Yanipazar in there. Get both Legumjas, Efe Bayram, Efe Mandaraja. Like those three outside hitters are going to do quite well. I think they've got pretty good options in the middle, but 0-4 at home is almost Thailand territory, Everett. Like, that was bad.
It's remember, it's tough to come to the VNL.
It's hard, yeah.
Right?
It's a hard
Like,
tournament.
And like Canada went 1-3 last year. We went 1-3 the year before. Right? Like it is tough to be here at the VNL, and Turkey got a full dose of that.
Yeah, they did.
And yeah, I mean, like, I really don't want to hear it anymore from the Turkish fans.
No, you're not going to. They have been quite thoroughly humbled.
Yeah.
They have been humbled, and they know it, and that's okay. Like, VNL's a hard competition. Another thing that we should definitely put as a disclaimer is it's still week one.
Still week one.
It's still week one. These teams will look different by week 3, by VNL playoffs, by the Olympics. However, even though it's week one, the points still count the same. So if you have a horrendous week one, like Turkey, like a Serbia, like I wouldn't say the Netherlands were super good. No, they were okay. Iran was really bad this week. If you have a bad week, you still hurt in the points, even though it's reasonable on the eye test to take a week to figure it out as a team for the first event of the summer. But the world ranking point system is unforgiving in that way.
I do think that the Netherlands is a team that has really continued, like the past year and a half has really struggled for this team.
They've had a tough
This was a team that, looking back at 2022, I would have probably said was going to qualify for the Olympics, and now looking at this one, like I don't think they will.
No, I mean statistically they almost can't. Like
No.
they are 40 points behind where Cuba is for that last spot right now, and I mean Cuba's playing so well. And the Netherlands is just kind of staying where they're at. I mean, the Netherlands gained 7.5 points this week, which is perfectly respectable. I just think there is too much room to make up in 8 matches for a team that is just good but not. It's if you ask me if I think they deserve to go to the Olympics, I would say no.
Yeah, I would fully agree with that.
And sure, Namir led the week in scoring, 92 points, typical classic, whatever. But
But I mean, they shot their own federation shot themselves in the foot by not adding Benny Tweenstra to the squad.
That was an epic screw up. We got to talk to someone next week about that.
Iran did that to Esfandiar too.
Actually?
Yeah, Esfandiar this past week. Esfandiar was in Rio, and he just didn't play because they forgot to put him on the roster. So I don't know what's going on with our organizations out there who just can't add some of your best and it's not even like a random player too, like Tweenstra, Esfandiar, 2 of the best.
2 starters on their respective teams. Yeah, that was tough to watch. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about the Netherlands. I also didn't love the week that Argentina had. I don't really know what their deal is. The 5-setter against Iran yesterday was a very weird game. It got very spicy. Santiago Dinani talks more trash than anybody in volleyball. And it looked like there might have even been some shenanigans going on with like the Iranian Federation or the Iranian staff, maybe like leaving staff members near the Argentinian bench in places where they shouldn't have been. I don't know the details, but even it wasn't just Dinani and their players getting into it. It was the coaching staffs getting angry at each other yesterday.
Well, I think that this Argentinian team they're a passionate team. They're a South American team. So when they have the ability to play up, they will play up. And you also have one of the biggest mopes in volleyball as arguably your best player.
Is Luciano Di
Luciano Di Cecco, who has not had a fantastic season. Now, am I at all worried about Argentina's potential prospects at the Olympics? No, because this is a team that knows how to turn things on. However, I will say that they did seem a little bit shaky on the left side.
They did.
It was interesting to see how they are going between Polonsky and Facundo Conte and Vicentin, but it ultimately looks like I think their best bet is probably going Polonsky and Facundo Conte.
I honestly don't know. We will see them in Ottawa, I think.
We will. Yep. They will.
And I am going to keep a very close eye on their outside hitters in that event. But like Argentina, for example, they lose a 4-setter to Japan without Ishikawa and Takahashi, which makes no sense.
None.
That should not be happening.
No.
They push Brazil to 5 in Rio in an epic heated rivalry game and lose narrowly. That's a good performance, honestly. In that setting, nothing wrong with that. Then they go 5 with an Iranian team who honestly maybe deserved to win that game yesterday. If they hadn't been pulling some nonsense.
I was pulling for Iran. I thought Morteza was great for them yesterday. I was pulling for Iran. Their new setter, I don't know his name.
Mohamed Vadi, I think.
Out of the corner of his eye, he looks like Bruno.
Ooh.
The way he jumps, the way he plays, the way he delivers the ball. There was so many times it's like, is that Bruno? Like he looks like Bruno.
Speaking of jerseys that are terrible, Iran's jerseys are horrendous.
Really? I loved them.
I can't stand them.
Oh, I really liked Iran's jerseys.
Oh, I think they're awful. We just have different tastes. That's okay.
I really liked them.
That's okay. I thought they were the worst. Iran 0-4, not a good week. They're not relevant. It doesn't matter. They're not going to the Olympics, whatever.
It's a little sad because like when you go back to 2022, this was a team that back then with the way that Amin was playing, they had just won a U21 World Championship.
Right, they made the VNL playoffs that year.
Like that was a team that would have been like, okay, like this is a team that like Iran has had a really successful 2010s. Like Iran, Slovenia, and Canada, and France even are 3 teams that really improved their status over the course of the 2010s, more so than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I thought Iran was going to be the best team to come out of that, and they weren't exactly. They weren't.
So Iran's not relevant. Bulgaria is also not relevant. They got that win over the United States C team this week. Semyon Nikolov looks like a really, really good young prospect at the setter position.
Yes.
I think he's going to be awesome. But other than that, I don't care about Bulgaria. There's nothing really to talk about. Same with Germany. There's not much to talk about. They actually had some flashes of pretty good ball, and they're just kind of holding stuff together. And while Grozer rests at home and watches his daughter play VNL, who's actually here in the building with us somewhere in Arlington. But I don't have any thoughts about Germany. I think the only other team we need to talk about is Brazil. We haven't talked about Brazil.
Who did Bulgaria beat this week?
The U.S.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they beat us
right.
They beat our C team 3-1. Brazil is. We've said it a million times. Brazil is hanging on by a thread. They beat Argentina in 5. That game was awesome. They lost to Italy in 5. They beat Serbia in 4. They lost to Cuba in 4. This is basically Bernardinho, who's back as their head coach, trying to pretend like it's still 2016. But unfortunately, it's not 2016.
No.
The fact that Uncle Mo is seeing the court in meaningful games for Brazil in the year 2024 is insane. It's insane. Should not be happening.
No. And, like, I don't know why you're going for Uncle Mo when you had, like, where's Honorato? I would much rather have Honorato.
I think, was dressed as a libero for most of the week for some reason. I don't know what was going on there. Like, it really just... They think that it's still 2016 and it's not. Like that's kind of the only way I can summarize it.
Yeah, and I mean like people in the chat are being like, why is Brazil playing so slow? And I mean because you need to play slow when you got Uncle Mo out there. Like that's literally the way it is.
Yeah, so I've been saying that the United States is probably going to be the oldest team at the Olympics, but this Brazilian team, the way that Bernardinho has got them rolling in right now, they might be even older.
Yeah,
they really might be. Ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't love Brazil's chances. I think actually the best thing for Brazil would be to not make the VNL playoffs, save them from a week of international travel and save them from just traveling all that way, probably just to lose in the quarterfinal. Like it might be better for them just to not do that.
Yeah, but they won't.
They're going to try to win every game.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for doing that, but I think if they were to not make the playoffs, it might be a good thing. However, I will say the crowd in Rio was unbelievable.
As to be expected.
Unbelievable. The Maracanazinho, dude, I have to go to a game there someday.
A Brazilian game, though.
Of course, a Brazilian game. Like that Cuba game amazing. The Argentina game was amazing. The Italy game yesterday at the primetime slot of 11 in the morning.
They love Brazil loves those early morning games.
Awesome.
I really don't understand it. Like I remember they used to do that back in the day too.
Ronnie Cuba.
That's I already acknowledged that. Ronnie, we already gave you your flowers. Okay.
Yeah. We talked good about Cuba.
We already talked well about Cuba. And you know what? I'm just gonna say this now. If you guys beat us next week, I really don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Because we're still better than you, so there's no worry about that, right? It's like sometimes you let the little brother win, right? Sometimes you actually plug in the PlayStation controller, and then you just don't do anything on your end. Much like, like we're already at the Olympics. I'd love to see you at the Olympics so we can beat you there, right? That's fine. But yeah, we don't really need to talk about next week just yet. Is there anything else, Rob, that you want to discuss about this week about
men's
one?
VNL? Our Discord named a team of the week. Oh
yes.
Can we pull that up and acknowledge the work of the Volleyball Source Discord?
Big shout out to Rodman's Hair for doing that. They've done this now. This is 2 weeks in a row, and it's voted. Like I haven't voted on any of this, so it's not even like biased between us. This is truly from our community, which is why it makes it the best volleyball community in the world.
By far.
If you're not already on it, what are you doing? All right, team of the week. We got 2 right now: Slovenia, Italy. We've talked about it.
Both great choices, both undefeated.
We know why.
Yeah.
Disappointment of the week. It's going to be 2 once again: Turkey and Serbia. Once again, we've already discussed it. One team going 0-4 at home. The other team basically dashing
their Olympic chances in the trash.
Absolutely. Biggest winners of the week: Cuba.
Yep, definitely.
Jumping up 2 spots into that Olympic spot. Big up on the Cubans. Biggest losers of the week: Serbia.
Similarly.
Biggest surprise of the week: Masato Kai out of Japan. I'm gonna throw in Finn McCarthy there on myself,
like
but I gotta be Canada biased at some point in this show. Moment of the week: Tonček Stern's ace that gave Slovenia the longest tiebreak in VNL history over the Dutch, 27-25 in that 5th set.
Yeah, that was sick. There were a lot of great moments though this week. I mean, Onodera's one-on-one stuff block on Robert Landy Simone to make it 14-14 in that match was insane, and I think that was named match of the week. Was Cuba versus Japan, down in Rio, which was well deserved. And then I think that the Justin Louis chase down to Stephen Marr, to help win that first match was a
to make it
incredible moment.
24-22.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a good one too, because we were down earlier in that set as well, so I really liked that.
Yeah, this was a great week, and then we already talked about it. The stooge of the week.
No, we match of the week first.
Match of the week was Cuba versus Japan.
Okay, yeah, and then stooge of the week.
Congratulations to Clayton Lucas, because we already said it, and I don't want to be. If we complained about every commentator mistake, we wouldn't even have a show, because it would never end.
It would never end.
You all would get bored of listening to us complain, so we don't like to do that. But him saying that Grzegorz Łomacz is arguably the best setter in the world, and if you are having a laugh at that, just take a look at what he's won, is so absurd on so many levels to say that on an international broadcast, that we had to highlight it in particular. And it was, I think, one of the most viral moments in the history of the Volleyball Source Discord.
It was still going days later. It is now a full on meme.
It's a meme.
It will not leave. And I mean, you already know how we feel about it. Ronnie's saying, I hope Clayton Lucas doesn't go to Arlington to fight Rob. Honestly, if Rob and Luke, Clayton were getting into it, I would fully live stream that.
That would be fun.
That would be awesome. All right, moving forward to the team of the week, once again voted by the Volleyball Source Discord. Setter Simone Gianelli leading Italy to a 4-0 like that. Outside hitters Marlon Yant and Clement Chibul.
I like those two. Chebulu was really, really good for Slovenia. I thought Lopez could have gotten that spot for Cuba if you had wanted to go that way.
I thought Lopez was better than Yant, in my own opinion. But
Lopez was really good.
He was on my fantasy team. Crushed it for me.
Nice.
Yeah, I had Lopez and Mar, so I really.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that you had a very good week then.
Yeah.
Pull that back up again. Pull back up our list.
Oh yeah. Here we are. The opposite of the week, they named Tonchek Stern with a special shout out to Namir Abdelaziz for the hardest carrier out there, looking like 2018 LeBron James.
That's
Which
a pretty
like
good comparison.
yes and no, but like didn't LeBron James win a championship in 2018? No, that was 2016.
That was
but,
16.
But I don't know. Tonchek Stern's
team was better.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had the great moment in the ace to beat Namir and the Netherlands in 27-25 in the fifth. And like, as good as Namir is, I'm having a more difficult time watching him and the Dutch play because the team's not very good.
No,
they're not Olympic caliber. They're not bad, but they're not like they're not going to the Olympics. And like just the way that Namir dominates, I think, is actually hampering their development.
that to me has to come down to the coach then.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's-
Piazza went out and got himself red carded the other day. That was fun to watch.
I did see that pop up in the Discord. But you know what? Like there was an interesting moment in a Out of System podcast this year where Micah Ma'a talks about how he was just there was a certain point in the year where he stopped listening to everyone else and he was just going to set the ball how he felt it. And he told this to Namir, and Namir was like, "Good, I was waiting for this." And like Namir has played with great setters like Bruno, right? Like he's played with some of the greatest setters and
Gianelli.
with guys like Bruno and Gianelli. And like when you're playing with Bruno, you don't demand the ball. Like you can, but do you think Bruno's going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna make sure you get the next one? You know, like he's not going to like simp over you to be able to get you the ball, right? And I very much feel that that's like Namir's demeanor over the Dutch team is very much this is my team,
Right.
and no one is going to tell you I'm just going to set you. Like, do you think Wessel Kiemink's going out there being like, maybe I'm going to give a few to Fabian Plack? No,
Of course
like not at all. So I think that as much as we love him, to me, Piazza needs to be more control over that team dynamic.
I agree.
Than what we've seen.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The two middle blockers of the week were Finn McCarthy and Javier Concepcion.
Which is like, for us, an all-time
That's so
middle
sick.
blocker of the week. Because Concepcion is our homie.
Is the homie, yeah.
Is the man. We absolutely love Javier Concepcion and Finn McCarthy. You're going to love Finn McCarthy. I know you.
I can't wait to meet him. It's going to be great.
Oh, by the way, they called him Mr. Pringles Man because he has the Pringles Man mustache. He does have the best mustache in the VNL this year.
Ooh, that's an interesting take. I don't know who else.
Who else even has a mustache? Because Aaron Russell isn't around.
Not week one. He wasn't. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have to see the mustache game in Ottawa and see who else is competitive.
If anyone else can see, I'm going to go out there and say it right now that Finn McCarthy has the best mustache in men's and women's VNL. But yeah, if you have someone that you think, I think Quinn Isaacson was rocking a mustache this week.
Yeah, Quinn had a mustache. Ethan Champlin had a mustache. Taylor Averill's. So people are talking about Taylor Averill in the chat. I love Taylor and I love his mustache, but it's blonde. It doesn't show up on TV as well.
And we're going to be able to get them side by side potentially this next week too.
That's a good point.
That is like, and if Taylor would be down for that.
Did you see the Taylor Averill Max Holt like electric bike ad that they made on Instagram?
No.
It was one of the funniest pieces of volleyball content of all time.
I have to go watch
it. It was just tremendous. Yeah, I gotta look it up. It was great.
The best piece of Taylor Averill content I've seen recently is Matt Houlihan posted a clip, I guess it was like a summer camp last summer, of Taylor Averill just throwing gear at all these kids and making them dance. I thought he was electric.
Taylor is the best. We are excited to get. We think and we hope that Taylor is going to get a little more attention from the media because the right people are noticing how electric of a personality he is.
We are the media.
We are the media. So we're
like once again, do you see any other media here
Nope.
right now? Will there be any other media in Ottawa for us next week?
We are the only people here on Monday. We will be the only people in Ottawa next Monday. Libero of the week was Fabio Bolasso.
Yeah.
Good pick. Coach of the week, Ferdinando Di Giorgi.
Yeah.
Great. Good job, Italy. They had a good week. Anything else about men's VNL?
No, I think like week one was really good.
It was good.
The importance of VNL is it's important for like a few teams, you know, and week one was really important for the teams on the qualifying path. But now that the qualify, like I'm going to say it that on the men's side, the qualification game is almost done.
I kind of think it is
like,
too.
Barring something serious, barring a situation where there's a massive loss, like maybe Cuba loses to like Bulgaria or something. Like maybe like they get 3-donged by Bulgaria. Like that's the only thing that I could see.
That would be bad.
But yeah, I think that like I'm not going to say the Olympic race is done and over with, but it's definitely like there is a definite look at what things are going. But yeah, I think in week 2 we're going to really start to see what things are going to look like for the summer, and that's when we're going to really start getting prepared for that.
And
but
we will be there.
And we will be there. We will be there in 1 week. We will be
1 week from today.
I was going to say not too far from here, but we are now a lot further from where we usually are.
Well, on a global scale, we're not that far from here.
I mean,
but
it still took me 4 hours.
Dallas to Ottawa is at least a 6-hour flight. Like, that's far.
Yeah.
Poland is practicing behind us, by the way, but we've made sure that you can't actually see their practice because it's a closed practice, and that would be breaking the rules. So.
Let's just say that we're trying to be good boys.
We are. Yeah,
we're coloring within the lines.
We are. And we're still doing our thing. And let's just say that we have a little bit more access and a little bit more support. Yeah. We'll it's a good little teaser for the people. We'll let them in on whatever happens.
I mean, we don't really even know what's happening. This is a very last minute trip.
Before we preview a little bit of what's going on behind us in women's VNL here in Arlington, we want to talk about 2 things. One is the Volleyball Source Discord. It's already been plugged. It is the link is in the description. It is the best online chat community in the world, and it's been active and just very important. And like tournaments like VNL are why the Discord exists. Like that's really what it's all about. So join that, and then also hit up thatvolleyballstore.com because we've got the promo code SPICY that you can use for viewers of the show to get 15% off your order. So hit that up.
Y'all have been killing it. Like the chat has been going off today.
Yeah, chat's great. Viewership is great. We I know we scheduled the show like half an hour before we went live, so we appreciate y'all watching. Give us a thumbs up on this here video. Please do that. And again, because we're here and our schedule for both this week and next week in Ottawa is going to be a little bit more unpredictable.
Ottawa will be once we're in Ottawa, it's going to be our standard like morning and night.
Yeah, but like we won't have live streams created until like minutes before we go live. So honestly, like turning on your notifications for this channel is going to be a pretty good idea. We'll put them in the Discord too, obviously.
Also, do us a favor and give this video a like.
Yeah, we would love that.
If you don't want to, become a member of the channel, or if you don't have the money to buy, Spicy Volleyball merch, just give us a nice like. A nice like goes a long way at getting things out. I mean, we had over 4,000 views on last week's episode, which is really good. So
yeah.
we welcome.
Yeah,
everyone.
Last week's episode did great. Our men's VNL preview video did great. The clip of the show where we talked about the USA men's Olympic roster is doing really
that's
well.
just because of your clickbait title.
I clickbaited it so hard, but it worked.
You
peasants all clicked on it, so.
I was like at work the next day, and then someone was like, "Why are you posting like this? Not even." I was like, "What are you even talking about?" And I looked at it; it had already been up, and it already had like 2,000 views, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
12,000 views. Hell yeah!" All right, let's talk women's Everett.
Yes.
Let's talk women's VNL.
Because that is what we are here for in Arlington. We are currently sitting in front of the Polish national team. Give it to Stysiak. Ooh, okay, no. Stysiak's big.
She's huge. She's 6'7". Yeah, she's massive. So Poland's warming up behind us. Here in Arlington this week, we have the United States, Turkey, Serbia, Poland, Germany, Canada, Bulgaria, and Korea. And Everett and I will be here for exactly 1 match for each of those teams. We'll be here for Serbia versus Poland tomorrow, followed by the United States versus Canada.
Let's go.
Then Bulgaria versus Korea on Wednesday is a snooze. We won't bother talking about that. But then Germany versus Turkey, I actually kind of do like. I think that could be fun. Yeah. So we're going to see 1 match of all those teams before we head out of here. But we'll break them all down. And then on the other side of the world, in Macau, you have China, Italy, Brazil, Japan, the Dominican Republic, the Netherlands, Thailand, and France. And rosters are starting to roll in. We're starting to learn. Who's going to be showing up. But I want to start with the United States.
Got it.
Because we're here. We're here in Arlington. This is the same site that hosted last year's VNL final.
Mm-hmm. Which by the way,
it's beautiful in here.
This is a fantastic volleyball venue.
I see Lavarini patrolling the sidelines.
Yeah, I did see him over there. But just the size is perfect because it's a basketball venue and not a hockey rink. It's more intimate than we're used to for volleyball. So I think that this is truly a fantastic venue.
I agree.
It is perfect. I'd really like to see our Texan friends come out for this week.
Yeah, and I think that they will, especially for the U.S. women's games, because we've got the Canada game tomorrow night, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
But I was wondering about the roster, and because like we were saying on last week's show, or whenever we last talked about the U.S. women, it must have been last week's show, after they went 2-2 week one, like just because of the proximity and the convenience for this week, if your potential Olympians are healthy, it would be crazy not to bring them.
Yeah.
And that is what has happened for the most part. Notably missing are Kelsey Robinson-Cook and Annie Drews.
Yes.
Those two players are not on the roster this week, but we can read it down. The two setters are Jordan Poulter and Micah Hancock. The only one true opposite this week is Jordan Thompson. 5 outside hitters, Kalia Lanier, Jordan Larson, Avery Skinner, Allie Franti, and Catherine Plummer. So no Maddie Skinner. 4 middles, Haley Washington, Asia O'Neill, Chaka Bogu, and Dana Redke. Then 2 liberos, and Justine Wong-Arantes and Morgan Hentz. And this, I think, is
closer.
This is close.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is real close. I'm curious that Hancock got the nod over Carlini.
Well, like
setter-wise, which is the same thing that we saw in Tokyo, to be fair. But
I think I brought it up in our last episode too, or maybe it was in our women's preview. That is there a thought that you might bring Hancock as the S2 no matter what, just because of
her serve,
yeah. and those other things that she does.
Her serve is a weapon. I just don't think we've really used it.
No,
the last couple
nor
of
have we
years.
seen it that
nor
much.
have we seen it.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what Catherine Plummer does this week. This is going to be her first like big minutes on the U.S. on like the senior U.S. team in a while, especially with the club season that she just had.
Potentially.
What do you mean potentially?
Well, we still don't know what Karch is going to do.
We don't know what Karch is going to do. But
right,
she's
we're assuming that because Plummer killed it this year. But, remember, Kara Bajama killed it last year, too, and she didn't even get a pick. So.
No, she didn't. But Karch literally went over to Italy and was there for those last couple Conegliano games. Like
True.
He saw it in the flesh. So I'm expecting a lot from Catherine Plummer this week. I hope that we see her a lot. Honestly, I hope that because we only brought one true opposite, and last week, like week 1 for the women, we saw Maddie Skinner at opposite a little bit.
I don't mind that at all.
Put Plummer on the right side for a game and see what happens.
I think you want Plummer in as much as possible in rhythm in passing, because she's going to be she's going to be your target, right? And it's less for me about Plummer getting more reps, because it's not like she's going to get better from here till now, or from now until then in terms of passing. However, whoever's setting the ball is going to get used to her passing. And whenever you play with a passer like that, you get used to the rhythm. Maybe then when they go to the left, they don't pass maybe when they go to the left, they don't draw the ball back well enough. Maybe they put it a little bit high and inside, right? And as you get to know them, so that's where, if I was the setters, I'd want Plummer to be out there passing, because you know that she's going to get most of the targets once it comes to the Olympics, once it comes to the VNL playoffs, and you want to kind of get into that rhythm as the passer and setter relationship.
I agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense, and we're not suggesting that Plummer is a liability in passing.
No, but she's going to be the target.
But it is a fact that she is going to be the target. Yeah. Like 100%.
When you have Kelsey Robinson-Cook and Justine Wong-Arantes, let's just add another hyphenated name in there. Why not?
Yeah, no Kelsey Robinson this week is a bummer. But like whoever they put Plummer next to in reception is just going to be an interesting unit. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her and Lanier, because they played club together this year also. I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw Plummer and Jordan Larson, because that duo makes a fair bit of sense in terms of contrasting play styles. Like, I could definitely see that. And Larson kind of needs the reps too.
Yeah.
She hasn't played that much. Same with Jordan Poulter. I hope that we see Jordan Poulter a lot, because she still really needs to get back in the flow of high-level volleyball. She played week 1. She played most of week 1. But other than that, hasn't played real volleyball in like a year and a half. So that's kind of the stuff I want to see. I'm really excited to see Chaka Bogu play in person. I'm excited to see Dana Redke play in person. Just what other impacts some of those other outside hitters can have, Skinner, Franti, Lanier. And then how good is Jordan Thompson going to look? She did not have the greatest club season. She took a week off last week. I think she might have been a little banged up. I don't know the details, but can she be the Malonza from 2 years ago caliber scorer, which was really good? Or can she be like the Vakifbank this year caliber scorer, which was not nearly as good?
I don't think she needs... Well, you don't want her to be Vakifbank from this year. But I don't think she needs to be Malonza from 2 years ago, because they play a different... Like with Team USA, they play a different type of style, right? Like you Team USA, more so than any other team on the women's side, plays a very even style,
Yep.
where they distribute the ball evenly and they play like a pure team volleyball game, and that's
say Brazil is the only other team that's close.
Yeah, I would very much agree with that. Whereas everyone else is dominated, is led by a dominant right side.
Right.
Other than like maybe the Dominican Republic and like Japan, and just because they're on opposite ends of the spectrum of just using everyone. Japan real fast to the pins, Dominican Republic just
Real
high
big.
balls and
Yep.
just be physical, right? So I don't need Jordan Thompson. Actually, tomorrow night I want Jordan Thompson to be Vakif Bank Jordan Thompson. Absolutely, blow it into the net all day long. Let Canada go 4-0, and let's solidify that spot. We'll talk about my Lady of Maybe Volleys in a second, but I don't need Jordan Thompson to be the go-to. I don't need her to be the GOAT.
No, she just needs to be good.
She just needs to be good. And that's what this American team needs to do and to succeed, whether it's here at the VNL in the finals or at the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm real curious if we get a chance to talk to Karch or any of the players either tonight or before or after the game tomorrow. We'll obviously record those and upload them. But what I want to know from Karch, and the thing that I want to kind of press him on, because he's not very forthcoming in interviews. Like you interviewed him last year at Norseca.
That man is media trained.
Yeah,
he has done media for years.
Yes, he does. I mean, he is arguably the greatest player of all time. So
arguably, let's just give it to him.
I'll give it to him. I want to know what are his goals to get out of this week. What does he want to learn? What does he want to see? He's not going to give us or anybody a goal in terms of results, because that's not where. Not only, even if he did have a goal in mind, he wouldn't tell us, but I honestly don't think he has a goal in mind in terms of wins and losses. But I want to know what his goals are this week. What does this United States women's team want to accomplish this week? Who do they want to see? What do they want to learn about themselves? I don't really know the answer to that, because I don't know what is going on inside Karch's head, and what what is this team trying to accomplish this week? It's your guess is as good as mine.
Let's have beers with Karch this week.
That would be awesome.
I would die. Awesome. I would die a happy man if I got to have beers. Even just one. I had beers one time sitting beside. In front of me was St. John Smith, and beside me was Reed Pretty.
Wow.
Yeah, in Long Beach one time, and I was
surrounded by greatness.
And I was just like, "What's going on?"
That's sick.
Yeah, and then Kevin Barnett was there, and he just ruined the whole thing. I'm joking. No,
we love Barney.
Everyone knows. Kevin knows how much I love him. You're pulling up the Canadian roster there. Thank you very much. Not much change.
No changes, right?
No change whatsoever to the Canadian roster as were expected. We talked about it last week. Best week ever by the Canadian women's team in the VNL, going 3-1 last week, upsetting China, taking down Dominican in a 3-dom.
25 points in the world rankings.
Was absolutely massive. We now sit in that last Olympic spot. And you know what, Rob? I look at to week number 2, and somebody messaged me, Kenny Diaper, messaged me off the Discord. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if Canada went 4-0 this week. Now, the first task is the hardest. The first task is the hardest. And once again, this is not what I said. I know you guys are gonna doctor all of this and make it seem like I said this.
Yeah, you think people are clipping us out?
No,
I hope so.
I mean, I wish, but what was I saying again?
Well, I alluded to it last week too, Everett, that Canada's schedule this week, I honestly think is pretty favorable.
Well, yeah, so we have USA tomorrow night, and now USA is one of those teams that is one of the few elite teams that we haven't beat yet. So maybe tomorrow night would be the time. I'd love that. Germany, who I feel the last time we played Germany, we beat them. So I feel very, very confident against that German team. Serbia,
who looked brutal
week one, and that's a good chance for us to farm some points. And then Korea.
The first task is the hardest, I agree.
First task. But even then, if Team Canada manages to go 3-1 in week number 2 here and have a record of 6-2,
in very good position. You really are. I mean, yeah, right. So the thing going into this week is, again, you can refer to the world ranking spreadsheet that I have in the description. Canada is in an Olympic spot right now by only 4 points.
Yes.
They lead the Netherlands by 4 points. So it's not even close to as separated at this point as the men's side is between Cuba and Serbia. It's still very, very close. It's going to be very difficult, and Canada's going to have to earn it. But like I said at the very beginning of the show, Everett, with this... post-pandemic, at least, I have never once been concerned about the United States men losing to Canada. Not even remotely threatened. I am actually worried about our women tomorrow night.
I
am actually worried about our women tomorrow night because not because of who the players are and how they might match up, but Canada has so much more to play for. The result matters so much more to Canada, and Karch will claim that the result doesn't matter to him whatsoever. And maybe it doesn't.
But it's going to be the first time that some of these players are going to be playing together.
Right.
Like, there's so many things for this American team.
I'm worried. I'm actually legitimately worried. And you know what that means. Is that we got to put the wager on.
We got to.
So
the wagers have not been kind to me in past years.
But I think this will be the best chance that Canada has ever had to beat the United States in a game that we have wagered on. And as it so happens, Everett, I have in my backpack the exact equipment that we used last year in Ottawa. If the United States wins, you will put on the very same United States T-shirt to interview Team Canada.
Okay.
If Canada wins, I have the Canadian face paint, temporary tattoos, buttons, pins. I have all that crap.
You brought all that?
I brought all that. I brought all that. I brought all that because I am a man of the people and I believe in the content. If my team loses this game, we're running the wager back.
Well, we can run it back.
We're running the wager back.
I think that's going to be a good one. You know, I do think that right now we're playing at such a high level. I think Shannon Windsor has this team like locked in and dialed in, and they know what their gameplay is. And whereas there's a lot more figuring out things on the United States side of things. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited to get to watch the women play. This, like, the fact that we were able to come down here at the last minute like this, just like. This is the first time that you're going to get to watch the American women play.
Right, I've never
person.
seen the U.S. women in person before.
Right.
It's awesome. I'm so excited.
So I've seen them play more than you have.
Yeah, you have in
right?
Quebec City last year.
And yeah, I'm just stoked to be here, especially after the way that Canada played last week. But the big thing for me, and I absolutely know, like, I don't even need to be a fly on the wall in the Canadian dressing room, but like, job's not done.
For
Kobe.
sure.
Like, Kobe, job's not done. Right? Like that is like one great week. Doesn't mean anything. Like, it's just like in pool play. Like, how many times have you seen a team win, like get an upset and then go lose the next two and not even make it out of the pool? Right? Like, no. Like, Canada needs to have, if we have another massive, if we can go 3-1 this week, maybe 4-0. If we go 4-0, then I will seal it.
If you go 4-0, it's yeah. If you go 4-0, the math will be impossible to ignore.
Yeah,
the numbers.
The math will be mathing.
The math will be math.
The math will be mathing.
Yeah, especially like even Serbia. If you beat their C team, it's still going to be pretty valuable for world ranking.
Massive.
If you beat the U.S., it'll be real valuable for world ranking. Germany is only 2 ranking spots below you.
But when I look at, like, yeah, Germany is right there, but.
Germany is I think that might be a bit of a trap game and a game that Canada really needs to win.
Germany is going to be a tough one. Sure, they don't have some of their best players.
Yeah, so they have Stigro and Alsmeyer on the left. They're missing Hannah Orthman off the knee injury from last year. But they have Weitzel and Schultzel in the middle, who we both really like, and I'm excited to see those two girls play in person. I like Pia Kostner, and I like Anna Pogani at libero. Like, this is a good team. I just don't know about the right side scoring. They also do have Leanna Grozer. They have Grozer's daughter, who I think is like 17 on the roster.
She's young,
week,
which
is awesome.
Apparently, she's got a cannon on her.
I love that. Well, of course she does.
One thing to touch, though, just on the Canada-Netherlands situation, when we just went through Canada's opponents.
Yeah.
The Dutch, though, China, Brazil, Dominican Republic.
Wow.
And France. This might be another 1-3 week for the Dutch.
Yeah, this could be a real tough week for the Dutch. It could be a real wow.
Because
China, Brazil, and Dominican.
And like China and Dominican are 2 teams that maybe didn't have great week ones.
Right.
Both of them losing to Canada, and both of them are going to want to kind of get into that, especially as China, because China isn't guaranteed, right?
Technically, no, they're not.
They're high up there, but like they're not. Okay. No, what are their points at right now?
337, and Canada's at 290. So
okay,
I mean, they're in.
Yeah,
but they do have to.
But like once again, like that is a legit very elite team that could be dropping in outside of that top 5, top 6.
Good point.
That like China needs to figure some things out immensely. So does the Dominican Republic. We'll see if they get Big Beth back and Brenda Castillo back. Is their rosters up for DR?
I don't think I don't see their roster, so I don't know. But One roster that we do see is Serbia. They're going to be here. They have a couple outside hitters that I think can be valuable, but nothing else.
Yeah, Lozo,
Uzelac, and Lazovic are all pretty good, but
Yeah.
nothing past that. No setters, no middles.
Bielitsa on the right side.
Yeah, not great.
No.
Another team, you know who I'm really bummed that we don't get to see here is Italy. They're bringing the A team this week. Paola Egonu's coming back. Egonu and Antropova will be the opposites on that team. We'll finally get to see kind of how Velasco balances that, like you've been speculating for so long. They've got most of their outside hitters, like Sila and Bossetti, I think, are both back. The Alessia Oro is back. Monica De Gennaro is back. I think all the middles are back. Like, Italy's going to be sick this week, and I wish we could see him in person.
I wish we could too.
I wish I could see Paola Egonu play in person. That would be amazing. Here's Italy's roster. Combi is the second setter.
The one that Stella Nervini, I had to look up who that was.
Yeah,
where's my Martina Bracchi? I just want Martina Bracchi, okay?
Yeah, I don't know anything about her either. But Poland, are they still behind us? Yeah, they're kind of wrapping things up with a little bit of serve and pass, it looks like. Joanna Volos is here. We get to watch the best setter in the world play tomorrow. Right, I'm really excited about that. But you know who's not here?
Who's that?
Lethal Barbie.
Lethal Barbie is not here.
Lethal Barbie is not here. I'm so bummed.
Neither is Rozanska.
Yeah, Różański is hurt. I don't remember the details. Somebody who's Polish in the chat, please let us know. But Magdalena Stysiak is here. They've got Łukasik and Czernianska, I think, are going to be the two main outside hitters.
I really liked watching Łukasik.
She was really good.
Was really, really good. She was one of our all-stars.
Yeah.
In the Volleyball Source Discord.
Still no Stenzel at libero yet. Hopefully she'll be back in a couple weeks. Szczygłowska is probably going to start, and I can't wait to see how commentators try and pronounce that name.
Which one's that?
Szczygłowska, the libero, last on the list there.
Are we entering a realm right now, Rob, where, like, are we entering the come-up of the Polish women's team?
For sure. We're already right in it.
We're right in it.
Qualified last year. They got bronze at VNL without Volos, and they went 4-0 week one. Like
without Volos and Różańska and a number of players.
Right.
Like,
yeah, they're missing, I think, another one of their middles.
The 2020s are going to be Poland.
Sick, dude. Poland's sick.
Poland men and women. And now so you know why? Because Poland men and women are in the 21st century when it comes to volleyball.
Yep, they know what they're doing.
They treat it like a real sport.
They do.
Italy, take notes.
Yes, they do.
Boomers.
So, Poland is all the way up to third in the world on the women's side, which is insane. They gained 28 points in week one. I'm excited to watch them. I honestly wish I could have watched a little more of their practice just now behind us. But yeah, they get. Who do we say they get tomorrow? Serbia? Serbia's C team?
Yeah, let me
I think that's the first game of the week.
Yeah.
Poland, Serbia. What is that, 4 p.m. local tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Oh, our Polish friend Peter in the chat says Różański and Lethal Barbie's health issues are minor, but the details are not public.
All right.
Kind of like hockey style. Upper or lower body injury, but they don't tell the details. I've honestly kind of liked that.
Paul Maurice recently, or I saw a clip, and he's like, it's an upper and lower body injury. Whole body injury.
We've all been there. I'm not going to talk about Bulgaria. I'm not going to talk about Korea.
No.
We already talked about Germany a little bit.
Yeah.
Turkey is here. We don't. I don't see their roster though. Let's see.
Yeah, it'll be very well. It should be up here on the Volleyball World website actually.
Here, let's see, because I mean, we know that they're rocking with only I think it's only 18 players, maybe 17 players for the entire.
Oh
summer.
No, that's the whole roster.
Is it the whole roster?
Yeah,
that's also Poland.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, it's the whole roster. Dang it! So we'll try and get the. I want to get that packet, like that official Volleyball World packet.
Yeah.
And get the rosters confirmed. I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of the same characters. I'm really excited to see Melissa Vargas in person.
If she's here.
Assuming she's here.
If she's here.
It would be crazy if she wasn't here, but I'm really excited to watch her play in person. We're going to be here for Turkey versus Germany on Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, has the Federation posted anything about the roster?
Not that I can see yet.
Too busy smarting from the bad performance from the men last week.
Yeah.
If anybody Turkish in the chat knows your team's roster this week, let us know. But I think we're just going to kind of be pleasantly surprised. I'm sure they're here, but we haven't seen any of them, and we haven't seen them in the building yet or in the hotel or doing anything for practice. Oh, someone in the chat says it's the same as last week plus Ada Erdem.
Oh,
awesome.
we
I
got
love
Ada.
that. That's great.
I love that.
That's so great. I hope a lot of the starters play against Germany on Wednesday. I would really love to see this team in person. It'd be really interesting with see if they put Karakurt on the left and which other outside hitters they get in the mix and which setter and if hey, Chad, is Zara Gunesh healthy? Is she going to be here? Let us know that. But I'm excited to watch Ada Erdem and the legend that she is. And that's going to be very cool. So
chat's saying that Vargas is playing.
Good. Awesome.
Love that.
Good.
Love that.
Yeah,
Love that a lot.
Can't wait to see her in person. So, again, the schedule this week, tomorrow is Poland versus Serbia, followed by United States versus Canada. We've got the bet on the line for USA versus Canada. Wednesday, Bulgaria versus Korea. Don't bother. And then Germany versus Turkey. Sorry, I had to think about that one for a while. We will be doing a post-game show tomorrow night and a post-game show Wednesday afternoon because the games on Wednesday are earlier in the day.
Yes.
So look wherever you need to. Actually, we've got a very nice bot, thanks to our friend Peter from Germany, for programming our schedule bot in the Discord that adjusts the games to your local time zone, which is really cool.
Is it Peter? No.
It's
I met him once. I had beers with him once. He came to Toronto.
Did he really?
Yeah. Shoot.
I know the guy in the Discord that I think that it is. I just
Yeah.
can't remember his name.
Let me see if I can find him here. Oh shoot! Why?
He was in the general.
Philip.
Philip. That's
Philip.
Thank you, Philip. I was thinking of our Polish friend Peter.
Yeah.
Our German friend Philip. Thank you for coding that bot in the Discord.
We don't say German friend, then pronounce it French. You said our German friend Philippe.
What it was be just Philip?
Just Philip.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, whatever. I don't speak German.
Or French.
I also don't speak French. French is a stupid language. Well, I'm on the record for that one. All right. Is that it? Are we done? We out of here? That was like an hour and a half of just straight spewing words into a microphone.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of pent up things.
We did. And now we've
Like you wanted so bad to tell people on the 9x9 last week that we were doing this, and I was like, no, let's just show up and surprise
I really
people.
liked the shock factor of just showing up. All right, we are gonna go meet with some people. We've got a couple meetings in a half an hour.
Oh yeah, we do.
And so we're gonna go do that, and then we're gonna come back here to hopefully watch Canada's training and then the U.S.'s training tonight and get some interviews.
Yeah.
So that is our plan. You will definitely see us tomorrow after the USA-Canada game for the post-game show.
Yes.
And then you'll see us on Wednesday afternoon as well.
Yeah, can't wait. Remember, guys, right here is the best spot to follow all
right.
of VNL, all
That's
of
right.
volleyball.
This channel right here. Channel right here.
Brap, brap.
We love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Well, thank you, Ozzy, for wishing that we will have fun because we will.
Oh,
We will.
It's already been started.
It's already happening.
Trust me. I picked up a nice little something at the duty free on the
That's
way
right.
in, and the tradition is alive.
That's right.
Let's just say that.
We love y'all. We will see you live tomorrow night after USA Canada, and hopefully with some good interview content in the meantime. Thanks for watching.
Peace.